Deal analysis and a good deal analysis sheet is absolutely vital. My name's Ritchie Clapson, I'm a chartered structural engineer and I've been involved in the property industry now over 40 years. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about deal analysis spreadsheets. Spreadsheets. Why spreadsheets? Well, most of us can understand spreadsheets, and if you can't, it's not a lot of education to get to that point. Sometimes on my 3-day fast-track training event, when I'm talking to students, they say, oh, I'm not that good on spreadsheets. Would you know, I reckon you can go on a half a day's course, maybe a day's course at most, and you'll be up to speed with sufficient knowledge to be able to tackle the very basic of spreadsheets. And for me, the very basic of spreadsheets is all that we need. The bottom line is we don't want to get overcomplicated. One of the problems is a lot of people make their spreadsheets too complicated. I remember once sat with someone, they asked to buy me a drink and said, can you have a quick look at my deal analyzer? I said, yeah, sure, of course I can. I started questioning, I said, where does that number come from? Oh, that's on the other tab. Okay, let's go to the other tab. Where's that come from? Oh, that's on the other tab. Where's that come from? And I got to the point where I said, well, where's that £2,000 number generated from? Oh, I was told to put that in. They didn't know what their spreadsheet was doing. And of course, so easy then to overwrite those cells when it was linked to various other tabs, various other tables. So don't make it overcomplicated. And on the other extreme, don't make it too simple. Here at propertyCEO, we do not subscribe. We definitely do not subscribe to a back of a fag packet, a quick ready reckoner, a quick scribble on a spreadsheet, on a sheet of paper of these are the headline numbers. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Some people have said to me, oh, I was told that when I go and do a viewing, it's really important for me to do some quick numbers and say to the agent, this is my offer. How crazy is that? What does the agent think of you if you go in immediately on the back of a fag packet, as we say? Can you still use that phrase? I don't know if we can. Perhaps you're not familiar with it. But on the back of a fag packet, on the back of a rough piece of paper, you're suddenly going to decide and make a decision to buy a building worth £300,000, £400,000, £500,000. The agent's going to think you're crazy. You've got to go back and do your numbers. And of course you do have to go back and do your numbers. And the idea of a deal analysis sheet is it's able to be used quite quickly, it's able to be used simply, and it's able to be used time and time again. Now, the great thing about spreadsheets, I suppose we should start with the bad thing about spreadsheets. The bad thing about spreadsheets, let's start there. They can be corrupted. It's so easy to overwrite the cells. Well, here at propertyCEO, the deal analyzer that we guide all of our students on is relatively simple. Yes, there are some cells that self-generate some of the numbers, but one thing we always encourage, and I think this is a good thing to do if you're working on spreadsheets in any form, in any business, is always start with your template. So we always get all of our students to save a master template, and every time you look at a new deal, don't pick up a previous deal, use your master template, download that and work on that. And the other thing, get yourself a big button calculator. Do you remember those things? Big button calculator, not an iPhone or anything like that. Other phones, of course, are available. But don't use a phone because, you can easily press the wrong button. Have one of those big button calculators that you can punch the numbers and do a very, very quick check add up on your spreadsheet. And the idea of a deal analysis sheet is to make sure nothing is forgotten. So we have a deal analysis sheet which goes through all of those things that make up a development cost. So things that people forget, they forget the SAPS costs, standard assessment procedures. Those are your acoustic, your air test, those sorts of things, EPCs. People forget those costs. Some people forget to put a sufficient amount of money in for the project manager. People don't put enough money in for things like community infrastructure levy. They don't put enough money in for building regulations checks. They don't put enough money in for valuations, finance costs, in, out, the broker's fees. All of these things add up. And it's very quick to get quite a substantial number by adding these things up, which can easily be forgotten. So a good deal analysis spreadsheet puts all of that content in there, but it's equally able to be run through very, very quickly. Our deal analysis spreadsheet, I grant you when you first get used to it, it's going to probably take you an hour. But you should be down below 15 minutes to put a quick deal in and see quite accurately whether it's something that's worth actually perhaps pursuing further. And the whole point of a deal analysis sheet, you keep coming back to it. It's like a deal funnel. You put some high-level numbers in it to start with, and the deal looks good. Okay, now we're going to refine our numbers. And does it look good? It still looks good. Okay, now we're going to refine our numbers further. It might be with input from other industry professionals into that sheet. A deal analysis sheet lives with the project. It's from that very early concept and very, very simple to use, and then it morphs into a detailed measuring tool for the performance of the project. It's got to satisfy all of those requirements, because ultimately you are continuously going around this loop, checking the project, monitoring the project, and evaluating the project all the way through. A deal analysis spreadsheet is absolutely critical. Do not use a quick ready reckoner. Do not use a quick scrap piece of paper, a quick back of a fag packet type arrangement. Make sure you're in position, if you're doing development, have a simple but straightforward and comprehensive deal analyzer for your deals. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that's a useful little tip for you today. Please, if you've got anything else you'd like us to talk about on any future videos, or any comments on what we've talked about, please put it below. And as always, like and subscribe, and then you'll never miss another episode.